Yo, what is up? It is Nick here. How y'all doing today? We are in beautiful Carlsbad, California. Very sunny Southern California city. Out in the back, you have some lovely mountains. We have some wildflowers blooming right now. Anyways, today I am going to talk about the energy that I've experienced when jumping in to an unknown, scary project. And I'm going to talk about this because I feel like it's very deceptive. The moment before you start a project, or you start something new, or you're even contemplating starting something new, your energy is so locked up in other shit that you feel like, or this is the way I feel like I'm not gonna have the energy to accomplish the task that I wanna accomplish. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I'm not gonna be able to follow through with it, or maybe my capabilities aren't at the level they need to be at the moment. And therefore that sort of discourages me and makes this new project that I'm starting look so fucking daunting, because that energy just isn't there and at the same place. But what I've always experienced, and this is something that's been consistent throughout my life, back in the day when I first moved out of my house, I did not know any other reality. I also want to add that I think this is very relevant information to you, because this is something that, while maybe I'd heard it before, or I've heard people talk about it, I just don't think it's talked about enough. And in order to kind of like raise the awareness of this paradigm shift that happens when you start new projects, I want to talk about it some more, and I want to share this with you, and I want to get down and dirty with what I love about trusting yourself to come through in the end, and to trust, and about trusting in your own faculties. And I'm going to share a few examples of this. I'm going to go through when I moved out of my house for the first time, ended up doing it multiple times when I moved to Europe, to physical stuff that I've done. Like, I've done a lot of skateboarding in my life. I've done, I do a lot of like cold showers and cold plunges, and it's very relevant to that. But the basic idea is, the basic reoccurring pattern here that I'll show you is the before initial experience and during and after experience. Your point of view becomes completely different. Your point of view goes from this little small seed kernel desiring something else but not believing you can have it, to when you finally break that open and you experience the uncertainty and you experience all of the variables that go along with a project, or a task, or some big life-changing event. There's the scariness, the fear is actually the energy that transforms to propel you forward. And your task almost is experiencing those sensations that you have, experiencing the sensation of the uncertainty, and then seeing through it and sticking with it till you become level-headed and you can start making choices and acting, and you'll find you'll have the energy for the task that is at hand in front of you. So, time to dive into some examples right now. Back when I was 19 years old, I moved out for the first time of my parents' house. And this was not a clean break at all. my family situation was shit. Mom and dad fighting, you know, I was like, my head was all like in circles, like I couldn't get my bearings straight. My focus was terrible. I had a few resources. I had some money in the bank that I borrowed from my dad, which added further tension to the relationship. And then I had a car that basically I just used and was considered my car, although it was still my father's. And while the situation wasn't nice, like we were all still kind of on the same team, you know, like there'd be fights all the time, but at a base level, he still wanted me to win, and I still, you know, I still loved him. So like there wasn't anything like he was taking the car or anything. And even with the money, he kind of just like forgot about it, right? But as a kid, like I knew nothing else besides living at home with my parents. I knew nothing else but having that certainty of being, you know, at home, going to school, and, you know, just being in this nice, safe situation. So what ended up happening is there was a moment in after chemistry class, after coming out of like being under these fluorescent lights, being indoors all day, and looking ahead into my future and realizing that if I were to be a chemical engineer like I was trying to be, my future would be filled being inside doing this for endless amounts of hours. And while my mind was super interested in it, that did not work for me. My mind is very technical. I can handle many complexities, and I thought because of that I would be an appropriate fit to be a chemical engineer. But when I finally got down and dirty to what the day-to-day would actually be like, I couldn't do it. And I remember sitting in my car. I was sitting in my car, and I just started going through the list of things that I enjoyed doing and that I'd be willing to do. And so I went through. I dropped all my classes except for my Spanish class because I love doing Spanish. Like that's the class that I enjoyed going to. Basically, I made a commitment not to do anything I don't enjoy doing, and to face the repercussions and handle the repercussions as such, and then go from there. Although my view is now evolved since that time, more or less, I am in the same paradigm for the most part. Although I go in and out of it, I really like that paradigm. It's a really cool paradigm. If you have the balls to do it, I highly recommend it. So I'm going to continue on with the story. I was sitting in my car, and I just started ripping apart all these plans that I had to be a chemical engineer, to be this, you know, this mediocre person that would go on and do, you know, something that I didn't really want to do. And I was like, look, my life is going to be an all or nothing kind of thing. My life is going to be fucking amazing. And I'm going to get, you know, I'm going to live the way I want to live the way I choose to live. And, you know, I'm going to face the repercussions for that. And I'm going to handle it. This is my life. You know, I have to take control of it. I have to start steering my boat in the direction I want to steer it in. So I quit all these classes that I was not vibing with. I was like, I'm not going to waste my time. I stayed in Spanish, and I moved out of my parents' house because it was terrible. And when I say terrible, this is more like, you know, 19-year-old. I hate my parents kind of terrible, although I really still love them. So I moved out of my parents' house. I moved into this apartment, and it was the first time in my life I had a gap. Actually, no, I moved into my car at first. And this is what this video is about. And there was this point while I was living in my car, I hadn't gotten a place yet. I hadn't found a place. I had limited resources. I had, you know, I still had classes to take for Spanish. I still had, you know, things I wanted to do, but, you know, I stopped wanting to live in in that world that I'd created, and I had to break it all off. And I remember feeling like rugged and run down from living in my car, sleeping in my car, being uncomfortable. But at the bottom of all that, at the bottom of all that bullshit that had arisen, there was this undeniable focus, an undeniable energy that I found within myself. So, fast forward a couple days, I find a place to stay. I find the comfort sorts itself out. I have the space now to be in my room. I think I laid in my bed and just like thought about life for a few days. And everything sort of sorted itself out. Like the kind of knots like started untying itself. I was reading some, book by Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements, and like I didn't comprehend it all. But like I feel like it had like an effect on me, and like my mom's personality, like I could feel myself like detaching from my mom's personality and like all the bullshit that came with it. She was, a little rough around the edges at that time, and there was this energy that was welling up inside of me, this strength that I'd never known before, this focus. And eventually I couldn't pay rent anymore. And I ended up moving back in with my parents, thinking that I would be okay, thinking that, I found enlightenment or whatever, and it'll be fine, I'll move back in. That ended in a bloody rage. And I found myself bawling and talking to my mom on a walk one day, and the words I used were, I'm silly to think that I could come, sit at the gates of hell and remain enlightened. Anyways, fast forward a month or so from there, I get another job and I move out again to downtown San Diego. A little bit rougher, whatever. And I go through some stuff. I end up deciding, fuck this, I'm going to Barcelona. I'm gonna go live in Europe. I go live in Europe. I have no money to my name. I think I can be homeless, hobo, whatever. I'm going through this, and it's just getting more frustrating. And then all of a sudden, underneath all the bullshit, once again, it's like there's this opening that appeared, and this energy welled up. And within one day, I got a haircut, I got a job, and I got a place to stay. And I sorted everything out, and things got comfortable again, and I got settled into it, and it kind of like faded away. But there's this energy, there's this weird energy of strength that has always come to me in trying times. And more specifically, in times where I find myself on the verge of something totally unknown, and I'm not sure if I can handle it, if I can make it. And then, like, at first I go for it, and all this uncertainty wells up, and then if I see it through, if I don't buckle under the pressure, there's a strong focus beneath it, a strong focused energy. And that energy is more amazing and is more pure and more self-reliant. It's like, it's separate from like the food I eat. It's separate from, whether anything's good in my life. And in fact, I think it comes from hard situations. I think it's like unlocked by really, really difficult situations. And it's these situations that a lot of times that we're avoiding facing, even though we know we got to go through it. These situations are what bring out the best in us. That best, clear, focused energy. that allows us to have the capabilities and the focus and the drive and the follow through to finish stuff. It's almost like once your back is pushed so far against the wall, you have a internal mechanism that just lights you up, and you're just like, nah, fuck this, I got it. That's the kind of feeling it is. And it's not like an empty kind of like energy. It's like calm, deep-seated, rooted, very visceral feeling. Like, you know, you can take anything. You're ready for anything that life has to throw at you. You're ready. You're down for it. You're able to say yes to life. So, a few other like micro instances that I've experienced this energy in. Taking cold showers. So initially, before you jump in like in the ocean or in a cold water bath or in like taking a cold shower, there's this extreme resistance to it. And then once you get through the resistance, it's like there's a few seconds of your body adjusting, literally seconds. And it's not pain, it's just your body adjusting. And then there's this light and this power that rushes through you. And then you're like, yeah. And you're just like getting in it. And you're like, oh, and this energy just flowing through you. I fucking love that. I take cold showers every morning, sometimes at night as well. It resets your body, makes it feel really good. And I think even more than that, there's that before to breakthrough to after process that you go through. And it trains your willpower. And I think that's very important. Another one is working out. Working out is another way, you before you work out, you have this like idea or resistance or whatever to it, and then you go, you're like, okay, I had this, and you work through it, and then you're in it and you feel amazing after. And you feel you have more energy than you did before thinking about the working out, thinking about all the energy that it would take to work out. So, to wrap all this up, when you're sitting down, when you have an idea or a direction that you know is right for you, that you know you got to go in, or even if you have an idea that you just want to try, I mean, maybe that's an even better way to look at it, because it makes it more playful. An idea that you want to try, and it'll make getting through this wall of resistance more accessible. And it makes it almost fun. I feel like I look at stuff and I make it all very heavy. I make it all very weighty, like, oh, and it's almost like a game I play with myself, but it's like, oh, if I don't do this now, then my life will be shit. Some shit like that, and I make it really heavy and weighty, and then I have to work through that. But if you make it like, oh, what would this look like if I tried this, or if I tried this, and then go try it and see really what it would look like instead of just, thinking about what it would look like, then it'll make that more accessible. And there's been a progression in my life where working on new stuff or being more trying new, different routes and then just going for it has become more and more of a consistent basis for me. And that, I think, is because your body adjusts, your brain adjusts to whatever circumstances it's most consistently in. And then at the root of that, if you ask yourself, why do you want yourself to be able to adjust to all these changing situations? The answer for that, for me at least, is I want to be a competent player in this game of life. I want to be engaged. I want to be, powerful and flexible and able to roll with the times and what's going on around me. And in order to do so, I have to be able to adjust and be flexible and persistent and follow through and make these projects and dreams of mine, happen. And for you, it might be something different. For you, or maybe another reason could be, for all of us, is that, just to eliminate the fear of sitting there in front of something, sitting there in front of like a goal you want, thinking you maybe or maybe can't do it, or maybe thinking you can do it, but like actually really being afraid of it. And instead of just doing that, just busting through and doing it. All right, I'm gonna wrap the video up here. I appreciate you all watching. If you have any questions for me, guys, shoot me a text. I'll help out any way that I can. If there are anything that you'd like me to answer, any comments, anything you think I can do to improve, I'm always open for suggestions. And I appreciate you watching. Have a good day. Have a good week. Have a good life. Peace.